All right, we are live. Yes, the great reset is here. I have a lot of thoughts and I want to really let this out. I hope you're listening. I hope you're paying attention, especially if you're a newer investor, because this opportunity is not going to be here for very long. I know everybody's focused on the the negativity, the war. This is going to pass. And we're looking at the greatest bull market of all time. That is the possibility. That is the potential that we're about to see. And we're going to walk through it. I'm going to explain it. Forget the short term. Forget, oh, a little trade here, a little trade there. Don't miss it. You're too short. You're thinking too short term. This is going to be the greatest bull market of all time as far as probability. We have not seen this. We're going to walk through what is the Great Reset. Let's go ahead and get started. We're in the middle of a war, right? And it's not even big. It's Middle East, whatever. But what you don't realize, what a lot of people don't realize is what's behind this is the most explosive technologies of all time. You can be scared. Oh my gosh, AI, this is coming. There's no stopping this. It's not just AI, right? Just like I have on the screen, it is artificial intelligence infiltrating every industry. It is blockchain technology with which people fail to understand still. We're going to go through that. We're going to walk through the new regulations, the new stuff that is going through Congress as we speak. Okay. We're talking about robotics, humanoid. Oh, it's so scary. No, this is new productivity. You're printing more humans. We have a labor problem. We're printing more labor. Okay. That works 24/7. You don't pay them. I mean, capital, it's capital. Gene editing. People are scared. It is coming. Right now, Eli Lilly just bought out a new company. This is the biggest biopharmaceutical company in the US, or one of them. And they are now diving into gene editing, which has been developed for a while. You just need the capital and the regulation to do it. Now, I think the biggest catalyst, other than just the amount of money about to be printed, is the deregulation. We haven't seen this for maybe 50 years, for a long time. The deregulation allows you to start all these technologies now. There is no holding back, right? You have nuclear. We haven't seen nuclear for what, 70 years? It's all been priced out. Now we have nuclear energy about to be unleashed. The price of energy is going to zero, not literally, but it's going to be low. Nuclear is very explosive. We're not talking about which stocks yet. We're going to get there. You should be dialed into my report, okay? Just check it out. Go look it up yourself. You don't have to follow me. I'm letting you know so you have the opportunity so that you understand it. Listen to somebody explain this over and over, because you need to be invested. You need to warn your friends to be invested. If you want to start small, start S&P 500. But it's not going to be real estate. It's not going to be art. It's going to be innovative technology. This is going to be unleashed for the first time in a very long time, right? So I think we might have a good start there. We're going to go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, deregulation. Okay, right now in the Senate, they are removing so much regulation. Stablecoins, you hear about stablecoins, you hear about all this stuff going on. And the tax bill, and I'm jumping to the tax bill, forget the central bank right now. We're going to talk about that. But the tax bill, you see at the bottom, can you see it? I guess I have that banner at the bottom. This is the biggest tax cut in American history. This is firepower for markets. This is explosive growth for markets. This is going to anchor the next bull market. We've been lagging for about 6 months. This is going to explode, not right away. It's going to have volatility, obviously, but we're seeing, where you're going to get an explosive tax cut. That's what fueled 2017, huge tax cut, right? Without it, guess what? You go into recession because there's too many downsides to this. It will get passed. Everybody's just getting greedy. We need to do this. Let's add this. Let's take this away. It's coming. That tax cut is coming. Okay. That is rocket fuel for assets, regardless, right? You want the most technological one. Obviously, you want the innovation. That is rocket fuel. Next, you have deregulation. We haven't seen this. Okay. Like I said, artificial intelligence, You're not going to get inflation. You're not going to see inflation come back. Everybody's stuck on it. Tariffs are going to cause it's not coming. We're not going to see inflation because AI is way too deflationary, right? On the bottom, we have Goldilocks. What is Goldilocks? Goldilocks is when you have growth expanding while inflation is falling. Why is that important? Because obviously you want growth. How do you measure it? Well, he had retail sales today. It's kind of slow. How do you measure growth? That's a whole nother basket. Take a course, look at I have the answers. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have all the answers, but growth is a bunch of things in the economy. You measure it by GDP, you can measure it by employment. There's different things that you can measure it by. But growth is going to expand. That's why markets, you see risk assets exploding. We can go through those charts, but inflation is the key. Inflation is not going to rise the way people expect it to. The war that we're seeing right now causing oil prices to spike. They're not even spiking at record levels. They're barely going up. It's just not enough. That's it. Inflation is dead. All this inflationary talk, it's not coming. You're going to see, just like in 2023, when I said this in the last bear market, we didn't get inflation. It downtrended the entire time. And you got this Goldilocks where you have inflation down. Why does that matter? Because interest rates, market rates are coming down. That takes us to deregulation. That takes us to the Genius Act. And we're going to go over that information. Okay, it's getting passed through Congress right now. You have JP Morgan creating stablecoins. The whole system is changing. The entire system is transforming, right? Goldilocks, again, back to it. Growth is expanding and you have inflation coming down. You have AI reducing that inflation. Nuclear energy is going to unleash more energy, you have more energy, prices come down. It doesn't happen overnight, but it is coming. And the market's going to sniff this out 6 to 12 months ahead as soon as we get past all this, euphoric negativity. But we have a bunch of bills in the Senate, right? So the Genius Act is going to kick this off. This gets passed either this week or next week, could be 2 weeks, but that will get passed before the tax bill. Keep in mind the Genius Act, the Stablecoin Act, right? Now, why is that important? Because the real issue is funding, right? Debt funding. Oh, the government's going to fall apart. We don't have enough funding. By the way, let me make sure the audio is working. Is it working? This would be a shame. We had this yesterday. We had this problem yesterday. Let me know if the audio is good before I really start ranting here. Let me double check. I just got a little excited because I needed to unleash this. We're good. We're good, right? So the Genius Act basically makes these stablecoin companies who are exploding. If you look at you look at Circle, which is a stablecoin issuer, they create stablecoins. They're backed by U.S. Treasuries. That means they buy U.S. Treasuries. That is debt that China's been buying, Japan's been buying, Europe's been buying. That is U.S. debt. That's fixed income. That's what baby boomers buy. That is the collateral to the system that enables us to continue to borrow on a credit card and just push it over, right? So they're going to be the buyer for one of the buyers, and that's going to cause more people to buy, right? More investors say, oh, okay, you have these giant banks buying stablecoins. Guess what? We have the SLR, and I've been saying this for a while, the SLR requirements, another deregulatory catalyst. And it's basically, there's a cap on how much treasuries that a bank can lever up on. This reduces that lever. This reduces the ratio. This reduces the constraint. So banks can now buy more treasuries. Now, guess what they're doing? They're going to back stable coins. There is a massive demand right across the wall to buy more US Treasury bonds, to buy, whether it's short term, whether it's mid-term, long term, whatever it is on the curve. And that is going to bring in interest rates lower. Now, it's not going to 2%. We're not going back there because growth is way too strong. We're just not going to go back to 1-2%. That's actually a signal that the growth is weak. We're going to stick somewhere around 3 to 5% back and forth for the next 6 years. I don't know exactly, I'm kind of making an estimate here, but lower interest rates is also rocket fuel. That is more money supply. That is cheaper to borrow, cheaper to finance, leverage, margin, right? So that is the first thing here. Deregulation is going to cause a boom, and this comes little at a time. It's not one bill that passes, it's multiple bills that passes. They're also doing now gene editing bills to reduce that. Man, there's so much technology about to explode here, right? But let's stick to the Genius Act. This is going to skyrocket crypto. Altcoins haven't even moved yet. Pay attention. Make sure you guys are paying attention because alt season is coming. I don't know when. Watch Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance is almost at a peak. And when it peaks, altcoins are coming. This isn't just about alts though. You have nuclear stocks exploding, Oklo, GE Vernova, right? This is all in my weekly newsletter. The green light means I like the stock. You know what that means, right? I am not a financial advisor. I am not promoting any coins, any stocks, but I like the stock. That's what it means when you go sign up. It's free. It is free. It won't be free forever. Go sign up to it. Get some insight. At least see what I'm looking at here, right? Nuclear stocks, crazy energy. Why do we need that? Data centers. AI data centers need a lot of energy. There's not enough to go around. They're building data centers in the Middle East. There's a lot of deals going on. You need more energy to feed these algorithms to develop a more intensive AI. And there is a war for AI between us and China. That's why they're dumping opium continuously, fentanyl into the borders, because they know that they need to destroy our middle class. They need to destroy any piece of talent, any potential to win the AI race. That's part of it, right? So there will be deregulation that continues to pump these stocks. I wouldn't buy them when they're high. Wait till they come, wait till they release, wait till they come down a little bit. But it is coming. That's nuclear. This is very new, right? I have a whole stock list. We can go through it, ask the question, whatever. Getting back to it, okay? You unleash nuclear, you're going to unleash gene editing to destroy diseases, to reduce them from even happening. I'm not an expert on every single, just go read it. We're going to look at a couple things here on the news, or I'm sorry, what just came out when it comes to gene editing. Eli Lilly, like I said, one of the biggest companies, they're now looking into it. That is the signal. The market doesn't tell you exactly what's going to happen. The market, you see prices move, you see a headline, and we're probably 2, 3, 6 months away from an explosive rally for biotechnology stocks. Who do you pick? I'm not telling you. I like CRISPR gene editing, but there's a lot of them out there. We can look at the list. Okay, I'm gonna need some water for this. But I think, again, you have robots. There's a lot of robotic companies. We can talk about that too. Check out SYM. These are just in my head. Symbotic. Okay, not even profitable yet. Very early stage. They are automated AI robots for manufacturing. Walmart is using them currently, and Walmart's getting into stablecoins, by the way. All this stuff is converging all at once. This will be the greatest bull market, right? Unless we get hit with the nuke. But don't be pessimistic. Be optimistic here. Okay, so I want to jump into some of these just so you see the evidence, right? I'm going to go ahead and put them up, but you see what's going on here. Gene editing, nuclear energy, blockchain technology, AI. We already know about that. Now, let me, hopefully this doesn't kill the stream. I think we're good. All right, we're going to start jumping in here. Let me move this over so we can see it. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and switch. Boom, boom. All right, is that visible? Yeah, we're visible. Okay, we're visible. I got a lot of tabs open, so I want to make sure that this is something you can read. I always appreciate that. All right, so before we get to, okay, that's stuck on South Korea. Why doesn't it do the whole window? God, that's annoying. Technology's still tough. I want to start with the JP Morgan stuff. Actually, let's start with the stablecoins for the Senate. I haven't even read this yet, but we've been betting on this. We know this is coming, right? It's not just about Bitcoin. It is about the entire system is converging into a new system, right? Can I zoom in? A little bit. All right. So let me get a little bit of water so I can read this. I'm not the best reader, but I'm going to point out the important parts here. I want to keep this to 45 minutes, all right? The U.S. Senate is poised to vote today on a landmark stablecoin legislation on landmarks, that could reshape the digital currency landscape. Even major banks like Bank of America, behind the scenes are lobbying. They're paying money to these politicians. I'm telling you, this stuff is coming, just like Bitcoin. It is coming, right? And I'm going to tell you what my best pick is, what I think is the most potential that I've seen ever. Okay. I was first on Palantir. Ask anybody in the chat. And I messed up on that one. I screwed it up. I leveraged in, huge mistake. But Palantir, we called out 3 years ago. Now it's the fastest growing AI company. It's #1. It is explosive. And we have another idea here. The Genius Act which stands for Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for the U.S. Stablecoin, faces congressional showdown over more than 120 amendments that have transformed the bill into a broader battlefield for financial regulation. They are fighting. They are throwing money at this to unlock the potential of what these stable coins do. When you think of stable coins, just think of digital currency. That is what's coming. Digital currency on the blockchain, a superior way to track and transact. It's faster. It's instant settlement, right? The first comprehensive U.S. stablecoin law providing legal clarity. This is important. This is why investors, we haven't seen the alt pump yet. It's not legal. Once it's legal, boom, it's game over. This thing is going to, this whole narrative, this theme is going to explode. Providing legal clarity for digital currencies backed by traditional assets like treasury bills. Backed by, what does that mean? They're going to buy them. They're going to be forced to buy US treasuries. Interest rates come down. Problem solved. Optimism explodes. Let's go. That's what's coming. That's what's coming, right? So that's coming in Washington. Now let's go over some of the highlights here. Stay with me. I'm going to try to make it not too boring. Bank giants hedge their bets. Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan, right, has publicly stated the bank is ready to launch its own dollar-backed stablecoin once Congress provides regulatory clarity. If they make them legal, we will go into that business. And right now, who's the biggest stablecoin issuers? Tether, which is located in South America, so nobody really trusts it. And Circle, which is the company that just IPO'd. It's IPO'd at like 30. It's like 160 right now, right? Why? Because it's going to change the landscape, the entire financial system, as I keep warning you guys, right? Why? Because I want to see you succeed. People don't know. This knowledge has been kept from everybody. Don't invest. It's risky. No, it's risky not to invest. It's all about knowledge. Knowledge is power, right? You're taking risks. You take risk every day you go on the highway. It takes risk to have a baby. It takes risk for anything in life. Educate yourself and adapt. Okay, so they're going into stable coins. These are the biggest banks in the US, right? Yet behind the scenes, Bank of America has shown working through lobbying organizations, including the American Bankers Association for Bank Policy Institute. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's get through what is the stable strategy, direct targets, and non-bank competitors like Circle. So they're targeting Circle, which issues USDC, and Tether, whose USDT dominates the market at 144 billion in circulation. More stable coins will be issued. That means more US treasuries will be bought. That means interest rates are coming down. That is part of the Great Reset, a reset of debt, an increase in liquidity. If you want to know anything, this is the explosion of money supply. This is an explosion of more liquidity, unlimited money printing. And you think, oh, inflation is coming. No, we didn't see inflation in Japan for 20 years. It's not about that. It's about productivity and the money printing at the same time. AI is going to reduce that, right? Blockchain technology is going to reduce inflation. Why? Because inflation is a mismatch of too much demand, not enough supply. But now when you get more supply with robots, AI, faster technology, zero delay, boom, more productivity. Now you can print more money. You can hyper grow. You can hyperize. I don't even know where I'm making up words here. You can explode growth, right? That's what's coming without inflation. So your bank accounts are going to be, stable coins. They're not going to be US dollars anymore. The physical dollars are going to disappear, right? Originally, the expectation was by 2025, didn't happen. Now, when it comes, okay? So high stakes for digital finance. This is all digital finance, Web3, it's coming. Now, remember, if you guys pay attention, Visa and MasterCard got hit, right? Visa and MasterCard, biggest payment processors, right? They never can lose. They're monsters. Well, guess what? They're being threatened now. Just like Google's being threatened by ChatGPT, by Perplexity. I don't even Google anymore. Perplexity is way better, right? Instant information. You talk to it, it is game over, right? Some of you guys already know that. Now we're talking about digital finance, and this is threatening Visa and MasterCard, who will turn around and create their own stable coins if they already haven't, accelerating this process, game theory, because their old way of doing things is over. It's game over when this legislation passes, right? So $33 trillion in transactions in the past year, 33 trillion, surpassing Visa and MasterCard. What does this mean? Stable coins are already surpassing the biggest banks amount of transactions because it's faster. It's instant settlement. Okay. They're called smart contracts for a reason. you can code, right? You can create contracts in the dollar. Like in the money, you can create if then statements, if this, then that. It's just crazy. They're supercomputers. Money is turning into a computer itself. Money itself will be like an iPhone, right? That's what's happening here. Under the Genius Act, stablecoin issuers with more than 10 billion in market capitalization would face federal oversight, while smaller issuers could operate under state regulation. The bill requires full reserve back. Okay, we already kind of know that. Broader amendments to the complicated. Okay, we don't need to know all that. That was the point. Now let's go to the next one. All right, let's go to the next one. See if I can switch quick enough. Boom. And don't worry, we're going to hit the charts. Walmart. Okay, here. Walmart, biggest retail other than Costco. So what does that say? Walmart, Amazon explore launching their own stable coins, right? It's not just that people are buying Bitcoin and institutions are buying Bitcoin and the US government is loading up on Bitcoin pretty soon. It's that the entire blockchain infrastructure is being implemented inside the US. And we're on the edge of that becoming reality in law. It is game over. It's coming soon, right? Retail giants like Walmart and Amazon are exploring plans to issue their own US-backed stablecoins, according to people familiar with the matter, okay? To reduce payment processing fees and accelerate transaction settlements. The Wall Street Journal reported Friday that the companies are considering launching their own tokens. They're launching their own tokens. This is also about the Genius Act. This is going to get passed. I'm telling you, the wave is here. Okay, so now you got Walmart jumping in, cost cutting, motivations to drive corporate interest. This cuts costs. This increases margins. Their earnings will increase. It is unlimited growth, right? It doesn't mean we're going to 1,000 tomorrow. It just means growth. We're about to unlock the most explosive growth of all time because of AI and because of better money, a better money system. You want to be invested. Share this to your friends, right? Maybe they don't care. That's fine. At least you let them know, right? Broader, and that's not going to be just Walmart and Amazon. This is everybody. Who is this? Expedia. Okay, JP. By the way, do you guys know JP Morgan they have their own blockchain? It's private. This is why I'm not a fan of XRP. I hope it goes up if you own it. But they're creating their own blockchains. They've already had them. Why? Because they know this was coming. They're all switching to blockchain technology. JP Morgan Bank and Bank of America and Wells Fargo have also discussed potential joint stablecoin launches. The total stablecoin supply now exceeds 230 billion, blah, 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 whatever, right? So there's another one, JP Morgan, Walmart, Amazon. The biggest, most explosive companies are switching to stablecoins. Countries are switching to stablecoins. We can go to South Korea. Oh, this one doesn't show South Korea because I need to switch it again. I need to figure out how to use this faster. Either way, now we go to South Korea. The Democratic plans to propose comprehensive digital asset legislation next month that would double the capital requirements for cryptocurrency issuers, meaning they have to buy more treasuries. Similar bill introduced just weeks. Now you guys get what I'm saying here, right? Stricter standards for digital assets. There's just so many reports that are starting to hit all at once because this Genius Act is coming into the mainstream. It is coming. Did I miss the JP Morgan one? Okay, we're about to transition, right? So like I said, actually you can say this. I'm going to go ahead and jump to gene editing, okay? These are going to be ticker symbols. We can look at the charts. We have limited time though. So I'm going to jump to gene editing. This is new. Eli Lilly just announced. Let's go to gene editing. Here we go. All right. So look at these tickers, okay? These are the tickers you want to be focused on. Doesn't mean go all in. Do not leverage. Just understand it. Have it in the back of your mind. Editas, CRISPR gene editing. I'm sorry, CRSP. So we got CRISPR, we got Edit, NTLA, BEAM, and these got killed. These are down like 90% because of the regulation. Now that we have regulation coming into the fold, a lot of these are going to outperform. Who do I like? I need to do more research. To be honest with you, there's too many. This stuff changes so quick. Get an ETF way sooner, right? ARK Invest probably has the best ETFs. They're on top of this. You're going to see ARK explode again. Yes, they crap on Cathie Wood, but guess what? She's going to be right in the long run, just like she was with Tesla. right? And talk about Tesla. That is robotics, AI, energy storage, almost everything. Almost all these themes are in Tesla all at once. Do not, it's going to be, man, pay attention, right? Invest in your future. And a lot of you guys already are. I'm just hoping that this touches somebody, gets them to understand you want to be exposed here. You want to be exposed because the money, your prices are, the price of shelter will always go up. The price of XYZ will always go up. And it's time that you take advantage of what drives America and the world, which is technology. Okay, disruptive technology. Forget your value stocks, forget your defensive stocks, your bonds. That's not going to make you wealthy. That's not going to protect you over time, right? It protects you in certain seasons, but over time, Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Netflix, Tesla, NVIDIA, those companies explode eventually. And that 10x is your money if you can wait for 10 years. It could be sooner, right? So these are some of you just look at the ticker symbols, right? We're going to go to the next thing. I'm going to show you how strong this bull market really is. Talk about the Fed. We have a Federal Reserve meeting coming soon. Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to, let's go to the charts. All right, now we're at the charts. Now, as far as the bull market health, the health of the bull market, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, should we just switch over to the actual assets that are driving this? Maybe we will. Maybe we will, okay? But let's look at the health first. Let's look at the health, right? So probably one of the best internals or tech, I'm a technician, right? I do technical analysis. I'm trying to create courses, but it's very time consuming. So maybe that'll be done later down the road. You don't need it. It's just something if you want to learn more. This is internals of the market. If you look at the whole S&P 500, you want to know how many stocks are pushing the S&P 500. Why is that important? Because you don't just want 3 or 4 stocks, 10 stocks moving up. You want to see a broad rally. You want to see a wideness. You want to see more coming into the fold. You want to see adoption across all of these companies, right? So the 200 daily moving average is an average of the last 200 days of price action. It smooths things out. We want to see at least 50% of stocks cross above the 200 daily moving average. How can I make this chart bigger on YouTube so we can get a little more visual? There we go. Is that better? Okay. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, but we're getting close, right? We're getting close. We're coiling up. Why? Because we're waiting for the Genius Act. We're waiting for the tax bill to get passed. We're waiting for the Fed to turn dovish. Doesn't mean they cut rates. It means their rhetoric, their what they say, their opinions are saying, you know what? Employment is slowing. We foresee slowing growth. That is perfect. Why slowing growth? I always say this, if you get close to recession, that actually prompts liquidity. The economy is slow. It's like if you look at a train, the economy is at the back of the train. Assets are at the front of the train. They move first. That's what you see, right? So the economy won't recover when it does slow down, probably till the end of the year, maybe not till next year, like a full on recovery, but stocks will recover first because they look 6 to 12 months out. Why would you bet on something when it happens? It's too late. They bet before, right? Also, okay, if you think about it, okay, I'm getting lost in translation here. Too many things to think about. A little too much excitement. That's just my personality, right? Let's get to this. These are how many stocks are making new highs. We got more evidence. I think this is not today. Or is this today? Let me see. Monday. No, this was yesterday. We have breath thrusts happening. You got how many stocks are making 1-day highs, 1-month highs, 20-day highs. We're seeing a lot of these, right? So this is how many stocks are making new highs. Oh, completely new highs in the New York Stock Exchange. 65. Back in May, we were at what? Man, we were way down here. What is this? Why it's not even here? Okay, if we look at the whole trend, you see this W, you see this recovery. That is a signal of a cup, meaning we dipped because everybody was fearful. Now they see the future. Now they see regulation. We're not worried about this war. This war is not going to crash stocks. Stop buying into the fear. If anything, it gives you the opportunity, right, to buy lower, to get a lower price. So the amount of stocks making new highs is recovering. Boom. Market internals. We're almost above the 200 daily moving average. What's our next one? How about this? The amount of stocks. Let's see, what is it? The amount of stocks making new 3-month highs. We had a big burst, the highest burst since November of 2024. Now we're recovering. I mean, we're still sticky. This thing is sticky. There's a lot of stocks exploding. We're going to hit that, right? Also, how many stocks are making 52-week highs? That is starting to get to, breakout. I mean, these things are moving. Market breadth is strong. Okay. I'm warning you here. Because so many times we look back and say, I wish I would have. I should have, could have, would have. You got to pull the trigger. Stop living above your means. We're all guilty of that. Invest into your future because this opportunity only comes once. Now, who's outperforming today? This is RPG. This is energy. Okay, energy is outperforming. Great. So we hit a couple of internals. Where do we go to next? Right? Where do we go to next? I didn't want to make this we're at 30 minutes here, but we're going to look at now what I think are my top picks, right? And let's look at the macro. Let's also look at macro. I want you guys to understand macro a little more. Interest rates are key. Interest rates and money supply, right? The 10-year yield is the benchmark rate for all interest rates. They influence credit cards, mortgages, auto loans, any kind of loan is going to be anchored to the 10-year treasury yield. This is the pristine collateral, right? Well, guess what? We peaked in interest rates on last month, about a month ago almost. Even though we had the oil spike, interest rates are still rolling over. Maybe you want to see it look like a line. Look at that, right? This is the level I don't want to see. I've been saying this for the last month. We don't want to get above 4.5. We don't want to see that. And guess what? We're rolling over. If you're just new and you're just joining, go to the beginning where we talked about the explosive growth that we're going to get from all these technologies. I'm about to hit my top picks for that, right? But interest rates are rolling over. Now, here's the thing about interest rates. Employment is slowing, so we should get this come down a little more, right? You just want to be in the sweet spot. We're not looking for 1% interest rate. That's bad. We're looking for the sweet spot. Somewhere between, over the next 5 years, we want to see somewhere between 4% and 4-5%. Explosive technology doesn't care about no 4% interest rates. They're growing at double 30, 40, 50, 100% a year. They're growing way faster than this. The rate is irrelevant. Interest rates are more relative to companies who are trying to survive, small caps, right? Who have to borrow a lot of debt. But when investors get optimistic, it's irrelevant. Those bills get passed, it's irrelevant. We might even hit 4 or 5, but that's okay because the Fed is in QE. You just don't see it. It's not traditional QE. It's not traditional quantitative easing. But what they're doing is they're passing the deregulation to allow banks to do QE. They're going to be the ones buying the US treasuries. They're going to be the ones stimulating the market. That's what's coming. The commercial banks. That's where QE is coming from, right? It's also coming from, I call it an economic QE. The big, the big hyperscalers, they're pouring hundreds of billions into AI infrastructure, stimulating the economy, manufacturing, whatever it is. So anyways, my point is, we're not looking at a recession, or else these would be crushed. These would be falling like a rock. We're looking at a sweet Goldilocks scenario. Remember that Goldilocks. Growth is rising and inflation is falling. Forget these short-term month to month. The trend for inflation is lower. Matter of fact, I got it up here. Let's go to it. Here we go. That's what was next. A lot on my mind here. Okay. Retail sales is one of the most important factors to growth. Now they are rolling over, but I like this. Why? Because it gets interest rates lower, right? Inflation, CPI, it is not coming back. They're lying to you. These fools, they're speaking their books. I don't have no influence. I have no reason to tell you anything other than what I think. They have books. They have to satisfy their clients because they've been saying inflation might come back, right? The retail investor has been crushing these institutions, not all of them, but most of them, because they're living in the past, because they're emotionally tied to the past, because they think there's going to be a repeat of the 2008 financial crisis. It's not going to happen because the central bank will now just print money. And that's why you must be invested, because they are going to flood. They're going to devalue the dollar continuously. That is the way out. There won't be a financial crisis again, very small, slim chance, but there will be a devaluation of currency, which means you're getting poorer, right? You're going to be poor because your cash will never gain value. You need to invest it. Okay. So CPI is falling, retail sales are going up, right? Now, this month, yeah, they came down. Great, because we're in a situation where we want rates to be lower. Okay. That's great. So this is sort of the business cycle I look like. I look at, and I know it's a little boring for most people, but it gives me confidence. Now look at the trend. Oh, that's PPI. No, I wanted to look at industrial production, US industrial production. If you want to know how to read macro, by the way, I do have a course. Okay. I can't even remember what it's worth right now. But that's a more advanced course. If for those of you who want to do more advanced stuff, right? That you're not going to find on YouTube. You're not going to find that on YouTube. You can find beginner stuff on YouTube. You're not going to find advanced macro analysis for some of you geeks and nerds out there. That's how I am. You're not going to find that on YouTube. You can find it other places, but it's hard to really make it simple. I make it as simple as possible. There's quizzes to help you understand it even further. Everything else I'm releasing for free. I'm making the beginner course for investing free. Tell your mom, tell your cousins, tell your whoever they need to start getting invested because the revolution is here. The great reset is here. Interest rates are coming down. There's going to be more liquidity into the market. It's inevitable. The tax cuts, the deregulation, AI, blockchain technology, gene editing. This is going to be the strongest bull market in history. At least the probability for that is increasing each and every day. Okay. So that's retail sales. Okay. Lowering interest rates. Now, credit spreads, high yield credit spreads. This is key. This is what investors, the whole adage where people say, look at the markets. The price of the market tells you what's happening next. Why? Because smart people who are rich, the wealthy above us, they might not tell you the next move, but the money they invest tells us. So if they were scared that there was a recession, we would see this thing spiking. It's not. It's rolling over. There is no recession. That's what this says. There's no recession coming. High yield credit, they are piling into corporate credit, meaning they're putting their money at risk to corporations who they believe will continue to grow their earnings and continue to produce yield, right? Just know that this is an indicator for the market. Okay. Market liquidity. Let's go to liquidity. Okay. I know this is jumbled up, but the most important thing here is how easy is that to see? Yeah, we can see that. So market liquidity. Let me take these off so we can go one by one. Right. Number one is going to be the global money supply. And this is versus Bitcoin. I got Bitcoin because it is probably the best, other than gold, the best at tracking liquidity. You see the trend? Boom. You see the trend of Bitcoin. It lags about 6 to 9 months. That puts Bitcoin at making a new high or at least exploding somewhere in August. I hope I'm right. That is my prediction. Do not take it as fact, but I still think this rally is coming. One thing you got to know about Bitcoin is that it makes most of its moves. It makes most of its moves within 10 days of the entire year. You're not going to trade it. You're not going to be successful trading it. You need to be patient. You need to buy the dips and be patient. Okay. So liquidity is up. We're at 112 trillion, which is irrelevant unless you understand the context. The point is this thing always goes up. We've been on pause for 3 years, right? We kind of made new highs in 2024. Now we're back on this mode where we just go straight up. Why? Because Japan has to print money. China has to print money. Europe has to print money. All these trade war fears caused recessions, caused sentiment to go down, killed optimism, which now is prompting money printing from world central banks. That is the outcome, more liquidity. Now, if we look at the global central bank assets, these are the bonds of those, central banks. Hopefully I don't lose you guys here. This is barely starting to break out, right? It hasn't even moved. Once it breaks out, just like it did back here, right? You had in 2018, you had a lot of sluggishness. It didn't really move. And then COVID hit, boom, exploded. Why? We needed to print money. Are we going to see another COVID? It's possible. That would be another reset. But, it's fun to talk about fear. But I think more than anything, you're going to get more liquidity in order to keep the financial system from collapsing. You have to print money. That's the goal. You have to print money, and that's what's coming. It's coming soon, right? Now, this is the central bank, the US Federal Reserve's net liquidity. So when you add up all of their operations, they have a bunch of operations. Is there more liquidity into the system or less, right? This was the pandemic 2021 peak, and then they stopped. We're still in a consolidation period, but it's been moving higher in the last couple of months. And if you notice, it started to move up, right? As soon as we had the trade wars, because the trade wars caused a slowdown. They had to print money. They had to print money, right? And this is the entire system, the US Treasury and the central bank. Again, that's in the more advanced course. If you want to understand that, how to track liquidity, go take the course. You're going to make more back. You're going to make more and pay for that course. These are all everything I've learned over the last 5 years. Take my information. It's cheap. You're not paying more than $50. Most courses are thousands, right? They're thousands. So you're going to make way more back your money and be confident, understand how the system works by paying a small fee. Okay. And the reason I made it, I wish I had something where somebody made it simple instead of using these big words and no charts. That's why I made it, because I wish somebody would have done it for me. I would have made way less mistakes, a lot less mistakes. Okay. Anyways, getting back to the content, that's what we're looking at. Now let's go ahead and dive into my picks. All what we're waiting for here, right? Look at the VIX. I still thought the VIX would go a little higher. Still hasn't really moved up. Okay. The VIX spiked. You're going to want to get long after the VIX spikes. When the VIX spikes, probably goes to 27. If we get something bad, that is a time to buy. Why? Because the underlying fundamentals are still strong. What's more important? Corporate profits, are they climbing? Yes. Earnings season crushed. Corporate profits are accelerating. AI, deregulation, they're expecting tax cuts, which for big corporations, for everything. So the underlying growth narrative is strong. The only thing holding us back is uncertainty on when these things get passed, right? We're past most of the pain. So you might get a VIX spike. We'll see. Move index. This is bond volatility. This means that when it goes up, it means that there's a crisis, a debt crisis, possibly. Well, it's down. We're not going to get a debt. We're not seeing anything. The market is saying, nah, all clear. We should be at all-time highs, but we're waiting for these bills to pass. Right? We're waiting for these bills to pass. Dang, I'm getting dehydrated here. All right. So here's crude oil. Now, this is my concern, if I had one, is crude oil exploding higher, because it's going to delay the process. It will delay the process. Hopefully we don't get a bunch of oil tankers exploding, but who knows? We never know, right? You never know how things can work out. Now let's get to the picks. I know I said it like 10 times. All right. So first, let's start with AI. Palantir. Hold on. My legs are going numb. Hold on. Palantir is the number one. I think it's clear now. They're the number one AI company in the world. And it's hard to really try to find out where to buy Palantir at this point. Let's go to the monthly chart, because there's such a scramble to own the stock. I mean, this is what they're literally using to find, the Iran supreme leader. This is like the Palantir in, if you're familiar, some of you nerds out there, folklore nerds, this is Palantir got its name from the, what is it? The dwarves. Oh, I always forget this. The books, the famous books where, Sauron had the Palantir. What did he do? He looked into the ball. It's basically a ball, like witchcraft, right? It's basically a glass ball, like a bowling ball you look into, and you can see anywhere on the planet, anywhere what's going on. That's what the Palantir represents. And it's playing out, right? It is playing out. This is a war machine AI. And it does more than that. It does, supply chain management. My point is, you want to own Palantir, but I still think, in my opinion, you need this thing to tank. I'm hoping it tanks, right? I'm hoping it comes back down. It gave you a chance here, but anything under 100, scoop it up. Anything under 100, scoop it up. This is one of the individual stocks you want to own over the long. It's going to be $1 trillion company. It will be $1 trillion company. Maybe it comes down, if it ever, right? If it ever, what's realistic for Palantir coming back down? Let's use some technicals. Use a little bit of technicals here. Let's do the fib retracement. I don't think this is going to happen, but if it did retrace, it says a 21. That's not going to happen. If we were more realistic, let's just go back to the the last bottom, we use a Fibonacci retracement, which is a mathematical algorithm that basically gauges human psychology. If we do pull back, we're coming down to 87 according to the Fib. So anything under 90, like if you're under 100, you need to own it. If you get under 90, drop all your like don't even eat that week. No, I'm just playing. But you want to own some Palantir. Okay? You want to own some Palantir next. Next AI is Tesla, right? So controversial. Tesla is about to explode, right? Tesla is gauging up. This thing is going to move. And a lot of people say they're not proper. Tesla is not about cars. This is not about EV vehicles. This is about super AI manufacturing, robotics. This is a new wave of innovation. And you have the number one entrepreneur of all time. Well, maybe not of all time. I haven't done my history on that. But of our time, Elon Musk is a monster, regardless if you like him or not. Put your politics to the side. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter how you feel. All of you, a lot of people say, and I know you guys in here probably already believe in Tesla, but people say, "Oh, I don't like Elon." Well, then sell your S&P. The stock is in the S&P 500. Are you willing to get rid of your 401k because it has some Tesla in it? So you're supporting? No, you're not. You don't care. Okay, let me go to Instagram. I might have missed a bunch of. Oh, it never went live. It never went live. Okay, whatever. That's fine. That's fine. Looks like we're last on. Should I just go live on it? Damn it, that pisses me off. We never went live on Instagram. We never went live on Instagram. Instagram. Look, I'm just gonna tell you, Instagram right now. I thought I went live on you. Didn't happen. Go ahead and go to the YouTube video if you want to hear the content from the beginning. We're talking about the greatest bull market of all time. That's what we're looking at going forward. Okay. So check that out. I'm going to end it. I don't want to deal with that. Pissed me off. All right, let's just get back to it. So Tesla, technicals for Tesla. Tesla has three, and I think this will be the biggest company in the world in about 5 to 10 years. Yeah, I know. I'm remove it, whatever. Bye. Okay. I think this will be the biggest company in the next 5 years. And if we look at the pattern, Tesla really, it consolidates for like 10, not 10 years. It consolidates for about 5 years, 3 to 5 years, then it explodes. We're getting close to that explosion. Now, I can do technicals all day, but what you need to understand is that AI is the biggest theme, but it's so spread that you can't find a single company other than Palantir, Microsoft, Amazon. They're all doing AI, but who has the most potential? Tesla hasn't made a new high. It is very suppressed. They're coming out with full self-driving. A lot of you have already heard this before, full self-driving, but it's really about the autonomous taxis. What does that mean? It means that you don't need to really buy a car in the future. Kids don't even like cars. They don't even want to drive. A lot of them. There's different generations are different. They hang out online. So why would you buy a car and pay these monthly payments? And I don't mean everyone. Of course, some people are going to buy cars, but for the most part, you don't really need one, especially if you're in a big city. You get a taxi, right? And you don't have to deal with people. It's on your app. You push a button, come get the taxi. You pay $1 to move from here to there. It's cheap. It's faster. It's autonomous. It's safer, regardless of what you hear. It is safer. The regulation needs to get passed. It's safer. It's faster. Now they do have some issues when it comes to fog and other things, but it's coming. It's going to iterate. It's going to get better. So you have those taxi network. That's $10 trillion industry. You have robotics. You have energy storage, which is the ability to take the sun's energy, right? I live in Phoenix. So hot. Take all that potential energy, you store it in a battery, and now you have unlimited energy just sitting there. That's huge. That's going to drive data centers, right? And then you have autonomy. You have robots. And these robots will be the workforce, construction, right? All this other stuff. Oh, it's going to replace jobs. Listen, you're thinking too negative here. We always adapt. If anything, it's going to add workers to the economy. It's going to make things easier. It's going to make things simpler. And it's just unstoppable. It's unstoppable. It might be delayed, but it will not stop. So Tesla is coiling up from a technical perspective. Let's go to the weekly chart. We can see that, if we really look at the MACD, and I removed the signal lines on this one. All you got to know is once we turn green, the momentum is hitting another leg higher. So we're starting to get that momentum higher. See how we turn green here? Boom, stock went up. So we're at the beginning of a new rally, and I think that will come by the end of the summer. Okay. Obviously, something could go wrong. I'm not telling you go buy Tesla now. What I'm telling you is you better have a plan. You want to own some Tesla. You want to own some Tesla before it breaks to all-time highs. You have a 5-10 year plan. This will be the biggest stock in the market. Okay. Can I guarantee that? No, but that's from all my experience. This will be the biggest stock in the market. It has the most themes in it, and it's creating its own chips. It's going to create its own aircrafts. It's going to create its own manufacture. Like everything's going to change in the world, and Tesla is way ahead. Okay. They also have SpaceX connected. The potential is crazy, right? So Tesla is gearing up. This is a wedge pattern. When this wedge pattern breaks, the shorts are going to get squeezed. Everybody's shorting the stock. It's going to jump. It's going to make all-time highs. It's going to bring in new traders, new investors, because they're going to say, oh my gosh, the price is moving up. Then you're going to hear the stories online. Everybody's flipping. Okay. They're starting to flip because they understand that Tesla has superior technology. And now finally you have the regulation for full self-driving coming online. Okay. And the robots. So Palantir and Tesla are my two number one AI stocks. Now, if we talk about AI infrastructure, obviously NVIDIA's number one. They're the best chip maker and product by far. But AMD, okay, AMD is getting up there. Their chip is competing with NVIDIA. Can they pull ahead? There's different types of chips. There's different use cases for chips. All they got to do is dominate in the niche of whatever chip that is. Inference, right? They're doing inference. Listen, I am not a computer scientist, but these things are going up. These things are going to break out. They have a new chip. That's a catalyst. You want to own some AMD at these levels. I feel like it's better than owning NVIDIA at these levels. But if you had to split it, you get both. You want both. You want chips. Okay, here's another one. Let's go to chips. Okay, if we look at chips in general, what are we at? We're at 52 minutes. Dang, I wanted to keep this short, but this is this is a video that's not a video. This is content that we're gonna revisit in the future. So whatever. Okay. Anyways, AMD's at the brink of breaking out. I made a video yesterday, and guess what? It's moving up, but that's short term. AMD's gonna break out. It's going to all-time highs. I think it can go to 400 by 2027. So could I be right? Could I be wrong? Both. AMD share surge, second highest gainer, citing GPU sector recovery. Listen, the GPU, the entire sector. Just go watch my AMD video. I'm not going to talk about that again. I like AMD. Okay. Here's the other one: NVIDIA, AMD. If you want to know the top stocks for infrastructure, you have NVIDIA, you have AMD. Okay. NVIDIA is going to break out. It's going to be nasty, and it's been consolidating pretty much for 1 year. So that's a perfect timing for consolidation. You have Broadcom. Okay. I would wait for a pullback on Broadcom. Let's go to the monthly chart because these are hard to see on YouTube. Okay. You have Broadcom. It's going to break out to new all-time highs. And still, this is I think it's a lot bigger. It's $1 trillion industry. Broadcom's great. That's going to be an SMH. If you just get the SMH ETF, which is in my newsletter, I hate calling it a newsletter. These are my thoughts. This is what I feel. This is what I've been doing. This is what I think, right? You don't need to pay a financial advisor thousands unless you have zero input or understanding of the market. Be a you want to be a self-directed investor. You don't want to be relying on people because they don't have your best interest. You do the research. I'm just giving you a model, right? SMH is a very high beta cyclical ETF. It has all these stocks in them, so you don't really need to own the individuals if you're not confident in one single stock. Okay. But anyways, SMH has all of them. TSM, great. You really have to catch it on a pullback. Wait, where's ASML? ASML, I think, is a great opportunity because the technicals, it's down right now. It's trending higher. Okay. This thing is has a monopoly, the only machine that actually produces chips, the very, very, very bottom line of chips, right? When you talk about creating proteins that comes from, like if you're talking about some, really good protein, I love chicken, I love steak. Well, proteins all come from what? They come from amino acids. So ASML is like the amino acid for chips. You need the ASML to create these chips. They're giant facilities. They're in Europe. So I don't even know if it's part of any indexes. It probably is. And it's cheap, right? It's been consolidating again for 4 years, ASML, because Europe's economy has been crap. I don't want to cuss on here, but their economy has sucked. But this thing, now we're getting a rotation back in. You can see the breakout momentum starting to pick up, especially on the monthly chart. ASML and AMD are two names that I instinctually say that's going to be great. Those are AI infrastructures that create the chips, where the outside is Palantir, Tesla, right? And you have a bunch of other ones, but those are the ones I see that have the best price potential. I like to do price analysis. Now let's move over to blockchain technology. Let's just get this over with. Okay. I'm most excited about this. Obviously, these are my bags. Okay. Bitcoin, great. Bitcoin, listen, Bitcoin's going to the moon. I think it's going to hit 150. I'm almost 99% sure we hit 150. By this year, I think so. By next year, 100%. 200,000, that's the next step. I think we can get there. 250 would be my limit for this year. And I know some people are going, oh, we're going to go much higher than 250. We could, but you would need everything to hit perfectly. Okay. So let's be conservative and say 150 to 200. Okay, Bitcoin, we're at 170. Listen, the chart is amazing. The chart is beautiful. There's not much else to say. Everybody knows about Bitcoin. The question is, where's ETH? How is Ethereum going to? What is Ethereum? Ethereum is the monopoly on smart contracts. And I know people are giving up on it because of the price. They're not giving up on it because of the fundamentals. BlackRock is diving into Ethereum. BlackRock is buying Ethereum. We can look it up right now. Matter of fact, let me do it while we're talking here. Let me use Perplexity, the AI system. Okay. Where's my Perplexity at? Did I move it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So let me just throw in a couple things and then I can show you guys. We're going to ask Perplexity this. Actually, let's do this live. Let's just do this live so you guys can see. Maybe it's more fun. Damn it. Now you're going to see that I can't spell and I use autocorrect. Has BlackRock been buying Ethereum? I can't spell, but I get autocorrect all the time. Yes, BlackRock has actively been buying Ethereum throughout 2025, multiple sources. And who's BlackRock? The biggest asset manager on the planet. I mean, they have the most voting rights for lawmakers, right? I mean, that's the biggest asset manager on the planet. June 6th, this is this month, BlackRock made a notable $34 million Ethereum purchase, not very big, coinciding with 14 consecutive days of Ethereum ETF inflow. So the ETF's going up. Blockchain analytics report that BlackRock now holds approximately 1.5 million ETH. It's only going to get bigger, making it one of the largest institutional holders of Ethereum. And that's only going to get bigger. So I still think ETH is a better bet than all these other coins. Solana, I'm sorry, but nobody wants speed. It's about security first. Speed is great, but you're not going to overcome Ethereum. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so. XRP, no, you have no use case. XRP is the biggest scam I've ever seen in crypto because it's literally huge. I hope the price goes up, but I wouldn't bet on XRP long term. I think I think the water is going to recede and we're going to see what they're really worth pretty soon. Okay. Solana looks great. Sol USD. Actually the chart sucks now. It did look great, but the chart for those of you who are not technically sound, okay, it's going to be tough to understand Solana. Like I'm not going all into Solana right now to talk about it, but Solana in short terms, I like to make things simple. Solana is a very fast blockchain and it's great for meme coins. It's great for fun stuff. But it's not going to be used, like BlackRock is not going to be using Solana for the most part. It'll have small use cases, but I think the bigger use case, which is building the entire, remember stablecoins? That is a Web3. That is the next revolution of the internet. The internet is going to be totally verifiable and audited 24/7. And it's going to be, you're going to be able to own it because a lot of the internet is owned by the Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. They own the rights to a lot of content. It's not really yours, but the next level of internet means that musicians, artists, smart contracts, you can program financial monetization into whatever you create. Okay. Anyway, Solana, great. But you guys already know where I'm going if you know me. I think the biggest opportunity by far is Chainlink. Okay. I'm going to jump into this. It's been a while. And it's disappointed me. I'm not going to lie. It's disappointed me. I got really big. I sold my Tesla. I sold my Ethereum. I sold my Bitcoin all to buy Chainlink. And it's disappointed me. Okay. It hurts, but I'm not giving up on this. I think Chainlink, I'm very convicted that Chainlink's going to be, it could be bigger than Ethereum. All right. What is Chainlink? What is Chainlink? Technicals look great. No, I'm just kidding. The technicals are flirting with nothing, pissing me off. But as soon as you sell, as soon as you give up, the thing explodes. right? Let's go Chainlink, USD, Coinbase, because that doesn't give us the whole thing. Here we go. So this is the level to look at, first of all. Okay, 13 or 14 is this is volume profile. Basically tells us if we go back to the bottom of Chainlink, which I made a video on YouTube way back. If you look at it, it says I'm going all in. That's what the video says. I bought it at $5. Okay, that wasn't. I wish I bought everything at $5, but it wasn't. I just bought a chunk, and we went up to 30. So that's a 5 extra. That's a 6 extra money, right? And you're not gonna be perfect. More like a 3 to 4x. And we pulled back to we're at 13 right now. Okay, now this market cap is only 8 billion. Ethereum is 250, 300 billion. Bitcoin is 1 point whatever trillion. So the potential, the price potential of Chainlink is huge. What about the fundamentals? Well, they have a monopoly on Oracle networks. What is that? An Oracle network or an Oracle, which they are by far the most dominant, not even close, is what connects all blockchains. Blockchains do not connect to each other, right? You hear about blockchain technology, they don't connect. They need an outside force to connect them, just like computers need the internet to connect from computer to computer. Imagine if you could take a sliver, own a piece of the internet. That's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not representation of the internet. Bitcoin is a representation of gold in the sense of digital technology. Chainlink is the representation of the internet being able to, the ability to own a piece of the internet network, because it has a thing called CCIP. Okay, CCIP, cross-chain interoperability, allows all these chains, just think about how complex the internet, it allows the entire internet to connect to each other in the blockchain sense, using these ledgers, which are faster, cheaper, instant settlement. Now, your evidence is this. Matter of fact, look at who's using, let's go search this, okay? Let's go search this. Let's go back to there, okay? We talked about Ethereum, right? What major institutions, remember, I can't spell, don't judge me, are using Chainlink's technology? Okay. What major institutions? You're not going to see another crypto project that has bigger institutions using it. The entire narrative of this whole stable coins, let's transact, let's get this is all about the next revolution of the web, right? This is the number one, in my view, most potential. Bitcoin's already up there. We know about it. Ethereum's up there. We know about it. Solana. I know you guys have your own coins, some of you, but I don't think nobody matches Chainlink. They just don't. It's hard to understand, and I'm going to try to break it down. On June 6th, BlackRock made a notable 30. Oh no, wrong one. Okay. Major institutions using Chainlink technology. Chainlink decentralized Oracle technologies, interoperability protocols that connects everything, are being adopted by a growing number of major financial institutions, banks, asset managers, and market infrastructure providers, right? These are central banks. Swift is the global interbank messaging giant. Okay, over 11,000 banks across the world internationally use Swift because it integrates everything. Well, guess what? They're integrating Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability. Do I need to zoom in? Okay. They're integrating Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol to enable banks to connect seamlessly to blockchains using existing Swift standards. Okay, so it allows them to connect everything. What is the end point here? What is the end goal here? The end goal here is global financial institutions, including major pilots, live trials, cross-chain settlement for tokenized assets. If you hear about tokenization of all real-world assets, turning everything into a token, right? That's the next iteration of internet, of web 3, right? Everything's going to blockchain. And the underlying technology that allows this to happen on a massive scale is Chainlink CCIP. It's being done for Swift, which transacts quadrillions a year between different banks. Euroclear, that is the biggest settlement institution in Europe. They settle transactions, right? In Europe. And they're also using Chainlink. Clearstream, major bank infrastructure, participating with using that. ANZ, that's in Australia. Citibank, BNY Mellon, that's in Europe. BNP Paribas, that's in Europe. Lloyd's Bank. So I'm telling you guys, nobody has this type of relationship being implemented out of all cryptos, not even Bitcoin, because Bitcoin does one thing. They're going to own Bitcoin, but they're not necessarily integrating it into their system, right? The difference is you have public blockchains. These are private. This is the only thing that can touch private, right? And maybe there's others, but nobody has the scope and the the amount of reach that Chainlink does. What about major asset managers and custodians? UBS, big Swiss bank, Swiss National Bank, whatever. Okay, Franklin Temp. Look at all these. These are big banks. You can look this up yourself. Blockchain tokenization platforms. JP Morgan, Connexix. I thought it was called Onyx. Maybe they changed it. JP Morgan, biggest bank in the world, right? If you want to own a value stock, that's probably the only value. It's called the cyclical value stock. Why? Because it cycles with the economy, because they're a bank, because they fund everybody. They're also valuable because they're also a value stock because they can be undervalued. Okay, well, I have content on that too. We're not going to talk about that. My point is, JP Morgan, you don't need to own other banks. JP Morgan's the best bank to own, right? And guess what? They're the biggest bank by far, and they're also using their blockchain, their stablecoin that they're creating. They need Chainlink. They're also using Ondo. That's probably a good one to execute the first atomic delivery for payment settlement tokenization using treasuries. So they need this to work. You need Chainlink to on ramp the new world, right? The new world of finance is coming, and they also use Ondo. Ondo's not bad. I mean, Ondo's great. It's just I don't know enough about it. Okay, I'm not going to crap on it. Coinbase is using Chainlink also. Now, here's what Chainlink also does. It's called proof of reserves, meaning the entire financial system needs to audit, right? No more financial crises. You need to audit the entire financial system in real time, not send an auditor over like FTX who fails or who can get paid off. You want it automatic. So their protocol, which has already been implemented in real time, it is a proof of reserve. It proves you have the assets you say you do in real time. Okay, so that's what's inside that Genius Act, is that you need something to prove that. I'm telling you, the future is here. The future is here. When the Stablecoin Act is passed, is game over. So we can go and see like all these. The Chainlink is the beast. Okay, now let's move forward. Let's go ahead and move forward. We're at 110. I'm going to end this soon. I don't want to be here too bad. I got bad discs in my back. It pains me to sit for so long, but whatever, I'm no victim. All right, so let's go. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Chainlink. Those are my favorite blockchain technologies. Again, not financial advice, but that's my, hey, I like the stock. I like the crypto. Now let's go nuclear, right? Let's go nuclear. You guys have heard about this, Oklo. All right, my foot's falling asleep. All right, so Oklo technology. Now these things need to pull back, right? Oklo is small modular technologies. Like my old thing says above 25. So this is the last time we had this a couple streams. I said y'all want to get this before it breaks 25, which was right here, because this is a technical breakout pattern, because my technicals told me it's time to rip. Now we're up 100%, more than 100%. Okay, if that ain't proof for you, that tells you I am the best. No, I'm just playing. My point is, we have evidence that we've been calling these out. Okay, so Oklo, what is it? Small modular technology. Instead of building this giant nuclear facility, you have these small modules that are about the size of a caravan, and they basically conduct nuclear fission explosions to fuel. Right, nuclear can also fuel or creates energy, but they're able to put it tight knit, and it's just cheaper. It's faster. You can build it anywhere. You could take it off. You can move it. So it creates scalability, right? You can scale. Now, the company is high risk. This is considered high cyclical, high beta, meaning it moves. It's more volatile than the overall market. It's a cyclical because it cycles with the theme. It cycles with, is there a policy that's going to, increase the adoption of this? Yes, there is. So it's a cyclical. And point is, Oklo is one of the number one nuclear technologies. Next, matter of fact, let's just go to nukes. I mean, not nukes. Let's go to energy. I think I have them all on here. Let's go to energy here. Now, rest in peace, ENPH. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people bought into this. Their business model sucked, and I think it'll rebound eventually. A lot of people have been trying to get long. This thing is now down what? There'll be a time that it pops. It's getting short. It's down 90%. Oh my goodness. From December. Wow. Now that's going to be a big move if they get it together. Or if we get, it's all about the regulation. They're going to reduce solar. Trump is reducing solar. If we get a turnaround, this is going to pop. Anyways, back to nuclear technology. You also have GE Vernova. This is probably the most fundamentally sound, because they do what? Also, all these stocks are in the newsletter, okay, that I'm going to be updating every week or every other week, depending. So you can see a list of offensive growth drivers that are going to compound over time. And I believe that is go under the description of YouTube. Go subscribe. It's free. Go do it now. Come on. So GE Vernova is, let's look at the profile here. It is 133 billion. So this is probably the bigger. It's not just nuclear technology. They do a bunch of different technology through and manufacturing services, gas, nuclear, hydro. So they do, everything. So this stock is at all-time highs though, and it's 130 billion. Imagine if Oklo, or which we're going to visit next, SMR, gets to that level. That's going to be monstrosity, right? That's a big move. But GE Vernova is a safe bet. This is more of a cyclical. It's a high beta, but it's not really high beta. It's a cyclical growth, right? This is cyclical growth. And really, you want to be heavily weighted cyclical growth because they make the biggest moves. But I would say this is a big cap, so it's more safe, less risky. It's considered a large. It's considered a large cap stock. Okay. So GE Vernova is another one. There's not really technical. I mean, it's at all-time highs. I'm not even going to look at this. There may be a potential pullback. Let's look at the daily really quick. I'm going to speed through this. If we do reverse, let's see how far it can fall from the last pullback. Okay, maybe it comes down to 450, right? That was the last resistance also. So 450, remember that for GE Vernova. We're talking 450. Just put it here. 450 for GE Vernova. Okay. Next, I want to look at CEG. This is Constellation Energy. I made so many videos about this thing exploding. I wish I had more capital, but it's very volatile. Now, this is high beta cyclical also because we're talking about energy. This is a utility provider. This is who Meta is pouring billions in over the next 10 years to create a nuclear facility. We just needed positive regulation. Now we're starting to get it. So CEG is another one. Located, I believe, in DC, where most of the data centers are. So it's also powering data centers. Okay. Next, you have SMR. This is just like Oklo, very small, very new modular technology. They're called SMRs because they're small modular reactors. Okay. Now this one had a beautiful. You can see we had the pattern here. Price tells you. I mean, we can predict when a move is going to happen with at least a 50% accuracy, right? And we predicted it. We said, look, when this thing gets over 16 or 17, it's game time. Boom. Now it's up. I don't know. I sold too early too. I had a call option. I think I sold it at 28, 29, and it moved up to 44. But you can't win them all. Don't be greedy. I've got burned doing that. Just understand it will come down. Okay, it will come down. You want to buy the fear because this is not going anywhere. Now we got UEC. Okay, now I didn't do too much research on these. So I don't know if I would hold them forever or for a long time. But this is just throwing some information out there. This is nuclear, what is it? Mining. So these are mining. So they're basically they're mining the getting brain farts here. Let me just go look at it. Uranium. There we go. They're mining the uranium. So this is a uranium miner. And then we have another uranium miner here. See, they're breaking all-time highs because of the deregulation that we've been talking about. All-time highs. CCJ. This is probably the best one, only because Kathy Wood's done a lot of research on it. This might be the best uranium miner. Okay. And you just want to, when these pull back. I don't know if they're an ETF, so small portion in my view. Okay. Next, you have, and I know a lot of people are looking at NEE, but it's not performing for some reason. Nano nuclear energy. Maybe it will explode. Who knows? Now, the battery technology, right? This is also part of the energy transition. If Dimaj, you're in the chat, what up, Dimaj? He got long in this one. I got crushed. This is a reverse cup and handle also. Oh man, this thing's about to break out. Okay. So reverse cup and handle here. We got price potential. You probably want to get a hold above 6. Okay. Fluence Energy, very small cap. This is a small cap. The market cap is 1.3 billion, considered a small cap. They have more potential, but they have more price volatility. You want to be thinking 5 years out. You shouldn't be betting money you need on this. But Fluence Energy has a lot. I mean, this thing can move at a 1 billion, can go to 10 billion pretty quickly, 10x from here once we have more clarity on regulation, interest rates, etc. Okay, so that is battery technology. They are the number 2 best battery technology company behind Tesla. Just keep that in mind. This is Enovix. Okay, Enovix is also battery technology, and when that theme hits, it's going to hit. Now, what I see here is a a downtrend waiting to be violated, right? Waiting to be violated. You just need volume to come in and it's game time. How big is a market cap? Very small cap. We're talking another small cap, 1.2 billion. So keep these on your watch list. That is the energy storage. There's not one, there's multiple, right? Oil and gas is making new highs. I'm not going to buy. Why do you want to own this? If you're older and you're 45, that makes sense because you're like, you know what? That's too volatile. I might have to retire. They pay dividends. All these guys pay dividends and they grow because they have a lot of income because oil and gas is, that's still our energy source. But if you're looking 10 years ahead and you're younger, do you want to own something that might double in 2 years or own something that's doubling every year or tripling or can do a 10x? If you have time, you want cyclical growth. This is considered defensive growth. I mean, these are solid, don't get me wrong, but they're in the S&P 500. So you just buy the index, you already own it, right? ExxonMobil, Chevron. All right. So the next one, getting back to it, right? If we get back to it, what's our next one? Let's go to our next theme. Our next theme is we went over the central bank printing money. There's a theme there too, which is called small caps, and ARK Invest. You have artificial intelligence. We went over Tesla. We went over Palantir. Obviously, you have NVIDIA. You have AMD as infrastructure, blockchain technology. We got Bitcoin. We got Ethereum. We got Chainlink. Add whatever else. Okay, I'm just saying this is what I believe in. Robots helping humans. That's Tesla, and there's more to come. There is more to come. SYM. Check this out. This is the one that I'm interested in right now, and I know there's other ones, but man, there's so many picks. Let's go to SYM. This is Symbotic. They're a very small. They're a small cap. And they're trying to break out here. I mean, they're pressing against this very disgusting, inconsistent flag pattern breakout. If you want to know more, if you're a beginner technical analysis, look, my technical analysis course is $1. It is $1. If you're a beginner, go sign up. Stop wasting your time. Learn more, right? Understand more. Just get ahead on this. If you're not somebody who likes to do that, I get it. Fine. I'm just telling you. There's quizzes too to help you understand, retain the knowledge. It's not just a bunch of running your mouth. Okay. Anyways, Symbotic looks great. I just want to see a little more lift. I want to see it hold. I mean, if I look at the momentum is rising. I think this thing is going to burst pretty soon. Walmart is their biggest customer. Walmart is using them. They're a bunch of little robots in factories that are managing inventory, creating more efficiencies. They're faster. They work 24/7, and they have a bright future. So this is artificial intelligent robots. I don't know how much AI is really in there, but it's in there. But these are robotic manufacturing. Okay. Another robotics company is going to be Serve. I'm not a big fan of them, but this thing is volatile. This is high beta. Okay. I'm skeptical to put this in because I think anybody can replicate their product. So I'm not really too, but this is something a lot of people are looking at. Serve, very small market cap. I mean, I think it's 600 million. So it's very tiny. You also have RR, and this is Rick Robotics. I don't know if I trust these, but this thing is tiny. 218 million, right? There's going to be more companies. Most of the best robotic companies are not even public. That's the problem. They're all VC. Most of them are VC. And I'm sure there's other ones. I'll look into it. I'm just not focused on that right now. The next set of technology, we did nuclear. Oh, gene editing. This is the one that's coming out. CRISPR, CSPY. I'm not going to go over a bunch of other ones. We're at the 1 hour and 20 minute mark. Don't want to make this video too long. But we have CRISPR. Okay. Now look at the technicals here. Look at the technicals on this thing. You never know when things are going to get passed. But the fact that Eli Lilly, which is a mega cap, we're talking nearly $1 trillion industry, is now going after aggressively purchasing gene editing companies tells me that there's some lobbying going in where they're writing inside of the laws right now. They're writing in that deregulatory framework, the reduction of red tape for gene editing. CRISPR is the #1 gene editing platform by a wide margin. No, they're just the best. They were the first to get FDA approval. There might be better companies. I am not 100% sure, but I've been watching this for a long time. And I remember catching this big move where it went from 32 to 20 to 220. So maybe that's clouding my judgment. Could be, right? We all make failures. I'm not an expert on gene editing. When I read the transcripts, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I have to trust other people. But the technicals look okay. They look great. We're getting a lift, right? To be honest with you, you really want to see it get above 50. We need to hold 50. That is a psychological level where people just like to buy above 50. And it tells you there's more steam. We're making a new high. I mean, really a 60 would be new highs. But from my view, I think we want to see, right? This is kind of the downtrend we're looking at here. Let's go to the monthly. I think this thing can shoot up because the market cap here is 3 billion, tiny. What happens when you have a company, right? You see the pharmaceutical company, there's trillions in pharmaceuticals. Healthcare is like the third biggest industry in the entire market. What happens when you can gene edit out cancer and disease? You crush big pharma, you crush them. They're all going to be, this might get acquired. Who knows what happens? But I'm still optimistic that we get some gene editing. And if that's the case, we're going to see CRISPR therapeutics instantly jump to 100 and then just explode, because you can't have enough of something that is going to basically solve the health crisis. Okay. Now you need exercise. I'm not saying it solves everything. All I'm saying is being able to edit genes, it's a fine line. That's a fine line from playing God. It's also a fine line from getting rich quickly. I'm not saying go buy this, you're going to get rich. What I'm saying is pay attention, do your research. I'm giving you models, opportunities, and just throwing stuff out there. I like CRISPR and I like this damn setup because this is a dragon wedge. If you know, when I see this is a dragon wedge, and look at that momentum, it's starting to bottom out. This is bullish divergence. You got a flattening on the RSI while the trend is down. So this is a class C bullish divergence. It's not the strongest bullish divergence. The strongest is price is falling and RSI is going up, but we have price falling while RSI is flat. So this is showing us a lot of potential. Last time we saw this in AMD, thing broke out. Also, stochastics on the monthly are ripping up. Last time it ripped up, we had this move from 37 to 85. Okay. So maybe you get long calls out to 2027. The options chain really sucks on CRISPR. I wish it was better. I wish it went to the end of 2027, and I wish the prices were higher. It's just not the case. Maybe buy one, just hold it. All right, put it on your watch list. So you have CRISPR, you have a whole lot of other stuff. Now look, I'm done. I've ranted for too long. I'm just gonna do a quick recap of what we're talking about here. Okay, so I've went through a lot of stuff here. This is the game plan. This is the game plan. The game plan is pretty soon we're gonna get the Genius Act passed. That does two things. Number one, it gives confidence to the crypto industry that Web3 is here. This is not about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin will still explode. This is about crypto digital asset technology, which is ledgers and blockchain becoming mainstream, because the entire financial system is on an old school ledger, and it's time to innovate. It's time to go from horse and buggy to make a big jump. We're talking horse and buggy, not to gas-powered vehicles. We're talking electric vehicles, right? So this is a big jump. It's going to take time, but price always leads that time. I still think blockchain is the best opportunity because finance is everything. That's the biggest industry by far, is the financial industry, right? My number one pick is not even Bitcoin. It is Chainlink, but it is a high risk bet because it's a small market cap. There's a lot of reasons, but it has the monopoly. It has the backing. It has the partnerships. It's very small, more potential. You only live once. I would still say, conservatively, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, price it or push it out how you want. Okay. Number two. Oh yeah. So the Genius Act unlocks that. Number two, it unlocks U.S. Treasury. It unlocks a buyer for the U.S. Treasury market, which means the panic over the debt, over the explosion of debt, the panic over we're going to go down is over. It's over. The panic's over. That is pure liquidity. Liquidity drives market cycles, and that's going to kick off banks from all banks. Or what are the JP Morgan doing? They're going into stablecoins. That literally means they have to buy more US treasuries, which is why they're also passing the reduction of the SLR requirements, which means they can leverage more US treasuries. There is no cap. Interest rates come down, liquidity explodes. It's game over, right? Number two, We have artificial intelligence. Well, Palantir is very overbought, but that's the only asset. That is the number one AI that you want. Not Microsoft, overbought. Not Amazon. I like Amazon. Don't get me wrong. You want a little bit of Amazon, but that's an S&P, right? Palantir's an S&P too. I still think, look at Amazon's at what, 1.5 trillion, 2 trillion, Google's 2 trillion, 3 trillion. Palantir's at the very beginning stages still, and it's about 300 billion. Don't be like me and try to trade things and miss it from 20 billion all the way to 300. It 10x'd on me, and I messed up. I made a huge mistake, and I take, because I leveraged up. I got too excited. Don't get too excited. Be conservative. But also, when I got excited, it was the wrong, I was on the wrong side of the cycle. I was, the Fed was tightening. We weren't in Goldilocks. Right now, we're going to be in Goldilocks. So that pains me. And, but guess what? That's why I made this framework. So it doesn't happen to nobody else. All right. So Palantir, Tesla. Oh gosh, you got to have some Tesla, right? AI, robotics. That's everything. Tesla hits so many factors. Is there other companies out there? Sure. But Tesla's the one. Okay. Gene editing. I don't know. There's a lot out there. Maybe get an ETF, to be honest with you, but I'm going to buy some call options on CRISPR, not financial advice. Maybe there's some other ones. I mean, I know there is, but I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. Okay. I like CRISPR. All right. Nuclear energy, man, you have a lot. You have GE Vernova to stay safe, not to stay safe, but to reduce your risk, but it's at all-time highs. You have Oklo, which if it rips down, you want to own it because that changes everything. We've never seen this technology. SMR and Oklo, never seen this kind of technology, right? That is the software, or that is the high tech of the future for nuclear. Now you have the other ones, which are CEG, which are well established. It's high beta, well established. So I'd put GE Vernova and I'd put CEG, Constellation Energy, in the same basket, sort of. And then I'd put Oklo and SMR in a more high beta cyclical, meaning you don't want to buy it when it's running up. You want to wait for it to get crushed, and you're waiting long. This thing is volatile, right? And then you have the providers of uranium, which maybe you want some. I mean, whatever. If you like variety, sure, but you don't really need them. CCJ, Ali, it's in the stream. You can always go back and find it, right? CCJ is one of the tickers. The other one is LEU, and then UEC. I'll just go with the best one. Next, we have Gene. No, we went through that. That's pretty much it, right? There's other assets out there. Don't get me wrong. I like AMD. Okay. Is there something I'm missing? Let me go by. I get excited because I'm telling you, this is going to be the greatest bull market we've ever seen. And we're talking 5 to 6 years. Stop thinking short term. 5 to 6 years, maybe 10. The bull market will continue. Where's my high beta cyclical? I'm trying to see if there's something that I've missed. High beta cyclical. Where we at? Themes? No. High beta cyclicals. We also have high yield income. I'm going to talk more about high yield income strategies when we get close to the season where it's time to cover. It's not time to cover. When we get to that season where these risk assets, these high beta cyclicals are out of gas, we're going to start talking about it, but we're not there yet. Okay. We're not there yet. Is it healthcare? Okay, dude, I'm tripping here. Might be healthcare. A lot of the healthcare stuff does look really good though. Oh, that's not it. Energy, ships, healthcare sector. Who is it that I was looking at? I think it was Eli Lilly. Yeah, Eli Lilly looks really good. And Novo Nordisk. Now, I don't like the GLP-1s because I think it's lazy. I think it's for obesity. I don't think it's for general purpose because there's a lot of negatives and it's just not good to make people dependent on pills. But the stock is down significantly. It was at 150. It's down to $80. So Novo Nordisk, I would get some. Eli Lilly, I would get some. But those aren't the ones. Where's my high beta? Why isn't that showing up? Okay, here we go. All right. So as far as high beta, Tempest AI. This is okay. So AI infiltrating the healthcare system. That one's big. Tempest AI has not made all-time highs yet. Okay. I think it has, but it hasn't exploded completely. We're almost there. So this one looks good. It looks like it's chilling out a little more. Here's where we had that wedge pattern try to break out. But basically, it's going to start making a move right above somewhere between 70 and 80. A little more consolidation. Where are we at on the weekly? Okay, so Tempest AI is a big one also. It's hard to really gauge the stock. So I think a lot of people know about it. Why did this come on the radar? Because Nancy Pelosi went long on it, and she knows something, right? Oh, here we go. Here's my sleeper, guys. Here's my sleepers. Okay, you probably heard of this. I'm not a big quantum computing. These things are monsters. I don't understand it. I it just seems so risky. And I'm not saying I know everything, but man, these things can move. These things can move. My top ones are IonQ, 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 whatever. Okay, QBTS, RGTI. Ooh, that's a nice wedge. Okay, these things might really blow up. I need to do more research on it. To be honest with you, if I don't fully understand it, I'm not gonna really talk about it. It's just a lack of skill for me. QBTS, right? But it's also okay. Here's my sleepers. Remember, we talked about Symbotic. We also have RCAT. This is a drone technology company, very small cap, has a lot of potential. The technicals are beautiful. Does it have the best storyline? Maybe, maybe not. But the technicals tell me something's going on here. And this thing could do an easy 5x in the Goldilocks scenario. Okay. Drones technology uses AI. Also, check that out. Rocket Labs. Look, as soon as SpaceX IPOs, rocket companies will explode. New narrative. Keep your eye on Rocket Labs. High beta cyclical. Joby Aviation and Archer Aviation. You've probably heard of them. Here's Joby. Here's Archer. These are basically flying cars, like they say. They're going to be niche in certain areas. They could expand, but guess what? Trump just signed something where we're going to implement these to increase the efficiency of travel. Traffic sucks. Okay, traffic sucks. Um, here's my baby right here. This is the one I really like. I've done a lot. I made a video on this. XMTR exometry. So let me break this down. I'm going to end with exometry. Exometry is a monopoly. Okay, it is not profitable yet. They're still in the cash burn. They still owe some debt, but they are growing rapidly and they have a strong network effect. Network effect is probably one of the most powerful ways to predict that something's going to explode. Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, Bitcoin. Network effects are explosive when it comes to fundamental analysis, understanding the moat or the competitive edge of something. What is exometry? It's two things. They're manufacturing on the go, meaning it's not located in one area. They have a bunch of facilities all over the plate, all over the planet. They do custom manufacturing, okay? Custom manufacturing, 3D printing, but the real thing here is the AI. They use AI to develop a marketplace like Amazon Marketplace, right? But for manufacturing. So this is the digital manufacturing stock. Nobody's competing with them, not even close. They have like 11,000 distributors and like 8,000 clients and growing all over the planet. They give you a quote within 30 seconds, where traditionally it takes 7 to 11 days to get a quote. And they're by far the most dominant. So I'm very bullish on this too. I like this one a lot. And I mean, it's a 1.5 billion. Manufacturing alone is a what $30 trillion industry. I'm not saying their total addressable market is 30 trillion, but I think this is $100 billion company in the next 5 to 10 years. It could happen sooner. You never know with markets, but with this bull run, I think exometry being at 30 something bucks, they're going to have to stock split because they're only, it's a small cap. This is probably my favorite small cap that I can see is going to get implemented, especially with manufacturing blowing up all over the world for these new technologies, right? So it's trying to break out, but I like exometry a lot. All right, I'm done there. Did a big rant. I hope everybody's good. Eat clean, work out, be thankful that you're alive, that you live where you live. I mean, some of you, I'm sorry if you live in a bad place, but stay blessed and just try to improve every single day. But remember, this is probably the strongest bull market of all time based off all these different innovation platforms hitting, plus the Fed is going to be forced to hold rates a little higher, which extends the cycle. People got that wrong. The Fed cutting or being dovish is what's bullish. They don't need to cut to zero, because the longer you have rate cuts elevated, the more room you have to cut rates, the longer the cycle extends. We haven't even seen the ISM take off yet, right? Number two, these tax bills that are going to get passed and these deregulation bills are going to be super firepower for growth, right? So the markets, I mean, it's going. Anyways, you guys stay blessed. I appreciate your time. Have a good weekend. I'll catch you next time.